We will start by estimating the difference to our equation. Being able to estimate is an important skill because in real life you don't always need an exact answer. One way to estimate is to make the numbers easier to work with. In this case, I changed my minuend to 340 and my subtrahend to 140. This simplifies the equation because I know 40 minus 40 is 0, leaving me with 300 minus 100, which is easily answered as 200. I know that this answer should be larger than my final answer because we increased the minuend by plus 10 and we decreased the subtrahend by minus 6. We can work through this equation using base 10 blocks as a concrete representation. At the top, we have our minuend of 330, which is represented by 3 flats, 3 rods, and 0 units. At the bottom, we have our subtrahend, which is 146 and represented by 1 flat, 4 rods, and 6 units. Setting up like this, with our minuend on top and our subtrahend at the bottom, is the comparison model. In this model, we're going to start in the hundreds column and match and take out pieces. So let's start. So we can match our flats and take them out. Notice that there are no more flats left in our subtrahend position, so that means we can move on to our tens. You'll notice that there are more tens in our subtrahend position than there are in our minuend. This means we have to make a trade. So we'll trade 1 flat for 10 rods, and then we can continue to match and take away. There are no more rods left in our subtrahend position, so that means we can move on to the ones. Again, there are more units in the subtrahend position than there are in the minuend, which means we need to make a trade. So we'll trade 1 rod for 10 units, and then we can continue to match and take away. And what we are left with is 1 flat, 8 rods, and 4 units, which is 184, which is the difference and the solution to our equation. We can also solve this equation pictorially. I've set up the pictorial representation similar to how we showed it concretely with the base 10 blocks. So we have 330 in the minuend and 146 in the subtrahend position. Now we can just start matching and crossing out and making trades as necessary. So again, let's start in the hundreds position and match and cross out. There's nothing left in the hundreds position of our subtrahend. So now we can move on to our tens position, and we have to make a trade because our subtrahend is larger than our minuend. So we'll make the trade, and we'll trade that for 10. Now we can match and cross out. Now there's nothing left in our tens column in the subtrahend, so we can move on to our ones position. Again, we have to make a trade for 10 ones, and then we can match and cross out. So what we are left with is one of those and 8 tens and 4 ones. So our difference is 184. Finally, we can solve this equation symbolically and in a similar way to how we did it concretely and pictorially. We do this by breaking it down into hundreds, tens, and ones. So for 300, we have 300 plus 3 tens, which is 30, plus 0 ones, minus 100, plus 4 tens, which is 40, plus 6 ones. And then we just start in our hundreds position. So 300 minus 100 is equal to 200. And then in our tens, we have 30 minus 40. We know that we have to make a trade. So this becomes 100 and this becomes 130. This gives us 90. And then in our ones, we have 0 minus 6. Again, we have to make a trade because we need a larger minuend. So this becomes 80, this becomes 10, and it's equal to 4. Then we add these up to get 184, which is the difference, and it's less than our estimate of 200. For my personal strategy, I chose a jump strategy using addition. The easiest way to show this is an empty number line, where we start at 146, which was our subtrahend, and we end at 330, which was our minuend. And we start with a small jump of plus 4, which brings us to 150 to make it simple. And then we jump plus 50 to get to 200. And then we make another jump of plus 100 to get us to 300. And finally, we make a smaller jump of plus 30 to get to 330. So we can add up our top numbers, which is equal to 184, which was our difference.